Did you know 87% of founders stop because they are scared of being watched? Welcome to the Founder Mindset, Episode 3, The Biggest Startup Killer Fear. I'm Maya. Today we've got Pranay Mahendrakar, who turned his fears into books and a business. If you're new here, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming.
Yeah, see, it's simple. The big lie is that fear of failure means we're scared to try. In reality, the real monster is fear of being seen failing. That's a much smaller, more defeatable beast.
What are the four main fears you found most common among founders?
First, fear of failure. What if it doesn't work? Second, fear of judgment. The classic log, kya kahenge vibe. Third, fear of losing money, usually exaggerated. Fourth, fear of success. What if I can't hide anymore? Only one is about cash. The other three target ego.
How does that affect a startup's launch?
It stalls motion. If you tie identity to outcome, saying I failed equals being a failure. The event is true, but the story is optional.
Can you share a personal example of this fear in action?
Sure, I once published a book and feared it would be terrible. My inbox flooded with criticisms. Yes, some did, but nothing catastrophic happened. The fear promised doom. The outcome was shrug.
What about when you filed a patent? Did that amplify the dread?
Absolutely, patent filings let experts dissect your idea. The worst case was being dismissed by a board. But I still had my day job and learned what not to do. That recovery story keeps the fear in perspective.
So you've survived a few public experiments. How can listeners learn from that?
Use my fear audit framework, write three sentences worst case, recovery, and cost of inaction. It shifts your mindset. The safe option looks risky because you now see what truly matters.
Can we walk through those steps together? Give us a concrete example.
Step 1. Imagine losing 40,000 rupees and feeling stupid at family gatherings. Step 2. Think of still having your job, learning lessons, and embarrassment fading in a month. Step 3. Envision staying stagnant for 5 years. Older, still wondering. When you stack them, the safe option feels like a gamble.
How would someone apply this audit if they are not sure what their worst case looks like?
Start with a realistic failure, launching a product that flops and losing initial customers. Then map out how you'd recover, pivot, iterate, keep the cash flow, finally consider the silent cost. Missing market leadership, lower lifetime value.
What about fear of judgment? How can founders shake off the social anxiety?
I call it the judgment challenge. Pick a week and do one action that scares you because someone will judge. Post the idea publicly. The goal is proof. Judgment doesn't kill you, you feel it, but you keep going.
Could you give an example of such a challenge?
Imagine posting your raw prototype on LinkedIn and saying, I'm building X right now. Watch the comments. Some will love, some will mock. The point your nervous system learns that judgment is not fatal.
Why do so many founders overestimate the fear of losing money?
Because money loss feels tangible. It's a concrete number you can count down. In contrast, failure or judgment are intangible, internal states. We dramatize them to protect our ego.
How did Vinita Singh handle her own fear when she declined a high paying job?
She walked past the safety of guaranteed salary day after day for years. The lesson isn't that everyone should quit jobs, it's that you can consciously choose the uncertain path if you're ready to accept the fear.
What psychological trick does she use then?
She separates identity from outcome. She doesn't say, I failed when her company stalls. She says, we pivoted. That keeps her ego intact while still learning.
How can a listener apply that in their own startup story?
When you face setbacks, frame them as data points, not verdicts. Write an action plan instead of a self critique. Remember, the event is true, your narrative is up to you.
What about fear of success? That feels counterintuitive.
It's often hidden behind pride. What if success means higher expectations and less anonymity? To counter it, reframe success as a responsibility, leverage the platform to do more good rather than hide again.
Can you share an actionable step for dealing with that?
Pick one impact goal per year, like reducing carbon emissions by 5%. When success brings new pressures, you already have a purpose guiding you beyond ego.
If someone is stuck at the idea stage, what's your advice to stop hunting for perfection?
Build a minimal viable story first. Use the 1 to 3 core features that solve the problem. Iterate faster than you plan. It removes the paralysis of perfection.
Do you have any final takeaways before we wrap up?
Your fear is not protecting you, it's a convincing liar saying, not yet, not ready. The graveyard holds thousands of unstarted ideas. Build yours scared. I'm Pranay Mahendrakar.
If you're in the same boat, stuck watching your idea breathe without taking action, give this a thumbs up, drop a comment, or share with a friend who's still scared.
Right, you got a seed of an idea, and every day feels like walking a tightrope over fear. First step is to stop the paralysis.
How do you move past that paralysis when you're haunted by judgment?
Imagine your life 5 years ahead with the idea unstarted, same job, same salary, no progress. That's the baseline. Now write a short story where you launch and fail quickly but keep your day job. The math flips the risk.
What does that exercise look like in practice?
I call it the fear audit. Step 1. Jot down worst case numbers, loss of time, money, reputation. Step 2. Map recovery, what you still have. Step 3. The cost of not trying, future regret. Compare, the safe path often looks worse.
That's concrete. What about the fear that people will laugh?
People will always laugh or criticize. The trick is to detach your self worth from external validation. Think of yourself as a writer on a public blog. Your story matters to you, not to every reader.
Could you give an example where judgment didn't end up damaging?
Sure, when I launched my first open source library, 5 strangers posted bugs in the comments. Instead of spiraling, I responded quickly. Those critiques helped me squash a major security flaw before anyone else discovered it.
That's interesting. How do you keep that mindset if criticism comes hard?
Use the two list technique. One list, feedback to act on. Second, feedback to drop. Anything not actionable. The first list shrinks your emotional load and turns criticism into a roadmap.
How do founders differentiate fear of failure from fear of success?
Fear of failure is about loss, while fear of success feels like responsibility. Both tie back to identity. Shift focus. Instead of saying, I am a failure if this doesn't work, say, I will learn whether or not it works. That reframes the outcome as data.
You mentioned separating identity from outcome earlier. How do founders practice that daily?
Start each day with a micro commitment. Write one sentence in your log about what you did, not how it went. Over time, you build a habit of owning actions rather than results.
What if the market isn't ready yet? How do founders avoid delaying due to timing fears?
Deploy an MVP with 1 to 3 core features. Get real users, iterate fast, and use data points to validate or pivot. Timing becomes a metric you can track, not a vague fear.
How do founders protect themselves from the fear that money will be lost?
Treat it like any business expense. Set a capped budget for experimentation, say 5,000 rupees per week. If you hit that cap, stop and reassess. You are investing in data, not despair.
What's one quick test founders can run this week to prove judgment doesn't kill them?
Pick a small act, share your prototype on LinkedIn, or write a short post about the problem you're solving. Note how many comments come in and how you respond. The objective is not applause, but proof that feedback stops at your doorstep.
Right? So it's all about framing fear as a signal rather than a barrier. Can you wrap up with key takeaways?
First, write a fair audit to see the real math behind risk and safety. Second, detach identity from outcome. Your startup is data, not a story. Third, turn judgment into feedback loops. Filter actionable items. Finally, start small, iterate fast, and remember fear's only powerful when you're blind.
Amazing. Pranay, thanks for breaking it down so sharply. If this hit home, please subscribe and share. Just one person can get out of the graveyard today. Stay tuned. Next, we'll tackle why hunting the perfect idea is a myth. That's all for the founder mindset. See you next time.